Now let's solve this problem. F of x equal to cube root of x to the fifth. Then f prime of 8 equals to what? Okay. Now let's remember the rules here quickly. The rules we can use is like the derivative of the constant is equal to 0, and the derivative of x to n is equal to n times x to n minus 1. So also we write them this way. Sometimes we write the derivative of the constant, so constant prime is equal to 0, and the derivative, the prime of x to n prime is equal to n times x to n minus 1. So these are two different notations, but they're same. So here, okay, how can we take the derivative? First, in order to calculate this, we have to find the f prime of x. So what is this? So let's write this function as, okay, now we will try to use the rules here we have. Okay, if we can write this one as the power of n, then we can use this power rule. Okay, the best way is now to write this one as the power of x. So this will be equal to then x to the, okay, 5 over 3, right? So this will be 5 over 3. Now, if this is the first time you can do it this way, you can use the rule this way. N is 5 over 3, so n is 5 over 3 here. Will be 5 over 3 minus 1. So basically substitute 5 over 3 for n in the formula and you will get the derivative here. This will be 5 over 3 times x to 5 over 3 minus 1. So I'm using the power rule here, or this rule. Okay, or this rule, same. Okay, then this will be f prime of x equal to 5 over 3, x to 2 over 5. Right, if you do this calculation, you will see this is 2 over 5. And then f prime of 8 is equal to, okay, sorry, this is not 2 over 5, sorry. Okay, this will be 2 over 3. Okay, now this will be 5 over 3, 8, 2 over 3, and then I can write here as 2 cubed, 2 over 3, so you multiply them. Which is 20 over 3. Okay, these rules are important, you know, they are the same. Okay, this notation or this notation, these are, you have to memorize them. Okay, here is with this d over dx notation, how to do it. Now let's find the derivative of this function. So we have a rational function here like a fraction, and we have a product. So how can we solve them? Okay, let me write the quotient rule. Okay, this, if it is h over g, these are the functions, the representing functions. It's, if you are taking the derivative, it will be the h prime times g minus h times g prime divided by g squared. And for the product, we have this rule is h over g prime is equal to h prime times g plus h times g prime. Now let's do this one first here. Okay. Okay, first I want to mention how to distribute the derivative here. So write these functions, these two functions. So we have a sum of two functions. If we have sum of two functions, we can distribute the prime here, the derivative, to both functions. So I will say plus the derivative of this product. Now, how to find the derivative of such thing? So I will try to find this one by using this formula here. Okay, it will be x minus 1 over x squared plus x plus 2 prime is equal to, okay, what is h here? H is the here x minus 1. So the derivative of h times g x squared plus x plus 2 minus x minus 1 times derivative of x squared plus x plus 2 divided by x squared plus x plus 2. Now it comes to calculating these like x minus 1 prime. So I will do this one here. X minus 1 prime is what? So you can distribute the primes here like it will be x prime plus 1 prime. So 1 prime is, okay, the derivative, remember the derivative of the constant. The derivative of constant means a term which has no x in it. No x here. So it will be always 0. So this will be always 0. The derivative of 1 is x to the x. The derivative of x is 1. Okay, I can show you this one here. Remember the rule. The rule is the derivative of x to the n is equal to n times x to the n minus 1. So it will be, if you write here 1, so it is 1 here. You will write 1 minus 1, so it will be 1 times x to 0, which is 1 times 1. X to 0 is 1, so you will have 1. So you end up with 1 here. So this will be then 1. So the derivative of this part here is 1. And the derivative of this part here is, okay, you can distribute. I will do the same thing here. So I want to show you every bit of the steps. I mean, each step, every bit, because this is kind of new for some of you. X squared plus x plus 2 prime is equal to, okay, you can distribute if it's a sum, or if you're adding or subtracting, that you can distribute. Now you can use this one here, x squared prime is equal to 2 times x to 2 minus 1, which is 2x to 1, so which is 2x. And we calculated earlier it's 1, and this is 0, so this has to be 2x plus 1. Now we can remove, we can change this one with 2x minus 2x plus 1, sorry. And we have, okay, I forgot this one, but it has to be squared, so it has to be squared. Okay, now we are done with this, so the only thing left is we will try to simplify this expression here. So, okay, I will replace them with x squared plus x plus 2, okay. Then what is this sum? So what is this multiplication here? This is 2x squared minus x minus 1. So I will write here squared minus x minus 1. And it will be, if I remove them here, it will be minus and plus and plus. So it will be minus x squared, and an x and x will be plus 2x, and 2 plus 1, it will be 3. So now I can write this part as x squared plus x plus 2 squared. Now when it comes to the other part, I will use this rule here, the product rule. The product rule says it has to be, okay, this has to be what? The derivative of the first one is 2x plus 1 prime times x minus 2 plus, okay, the first one times the derivative of x minus 2. Okay, I will try to calculate. I will show all the steps here. So after some practice, you can do them easily. You can do faster. I can do them faster, but I want to show you the steps, like every bit of them. So 2x plus 1 prime So you distribute prime to each, and here this will be 0. And look at here, this is when you distribute. Okay, if you have a multiplication with a constant, so constant gets nothing from the derivative, so the derivative does not affect 2. You take it out, this will be the derivative of x will be 1, so it will be equal to 2. So now I'm erasing this part as 2. So I rewrite. And if you do this job again here, x minus 2 prime, which is x prime, which is minus 2 prime. So this will be 1 here, and this will be 0. So you have 1. So you can write here, this one is 1. So this will be 2x plus 1 times 1. Okay, I will erase this part now. And when you combine these, okay, then this will be f prime of x will be this term plus this one, which is 4x minus 3, I guess. So we will end up with f prime is equal to negative x squared plus 2x plus 3 divided by x squared plus 2 squared plus 4x minus 3. So this will be b. Now, this is another way of doing this. Like it's the same thing, not the same. Okay, it's the same thing. Like separately taking the derivatives here and showing like 4x minus 3 and this one, and then it comes to. Okay, now let's look at this function here. Let f of x be 1 over 6 x to the 6 plus x to the 5th, and then what is this f prime of x minus f2 prime of x equal? Now let's see what happens. Okay, what is f prime of x? So f prime of x, let's write the f of x only, f of x first, and I will try to do it like step by step. So I distribute prime to each term. Now 1 over 6 is just a coefficient, so the coefficient is not affected from the prime, the derivative. So now I have to use the rule. The rule is x to the nth, derivative of x to the nth is like n times x to the n minus 1. So here if I use a 6 here, it will be 6 times x to 6 minus 1, and if I use like the derivative of x to the 5th, so it will be 5 times x to the 5 minus 1. So this has to be 1 over 6 times x to the 5th, and this will be 5 times x to the 4th. Now this will, okay, 6 and 1 over 6, they will cancel out, and we will get 1 here, so it will be like 1 x to the 5th plus 5 x to the 4th. Now this turns out to be x to the 5th plus 5x to the 4th. Now, let's look at the second derivative. So what we got here is, okay, let's write it again. So f prime is now x to the 5th plus 5x to the 4th. Now, second derivative means the derivative of the derivative. So you're taking the derivative of the first derivative. So what does this mean? This means x to the 5th plus 5x to the 4th derivative, the derivative of it. And now when it comes to this, let's distribute the derivative. Now 5 times, okay, by using this rule here again. Okay, you can use this rule here, the derivative rule. The derivative rule says like it has to be 5 times x to the 4th and plus 5 times the derivative of x to the 4th. Okay, this is a coefficient here. Coefficients are not affected by the derivative. It's 5 times 4 times x cubed. So this you can use this rule again. Now this has to be 5x to the fourth plus 20 times x cubed. Now let's do it. Okay, we have now okay, we have now what? We have now f2 prime of x is equal to 5x to the fourth minus 20 x cubed. Now what is f prime of x? Minus f2 prime of x. It equals to f prime of x is this one here, this x to the fifth plus 5x to the fourth minus the second derivative. This will be 5x to the fourth minus 20x cubed. And then when you, okay, when you calculate this one, you will have 5x to the fourth minus 5x to the fourth, and then plus 20x cubed. So then there will be cancellation, and this equals to x to the fifth plus 20x cubed. So this will be the solution of it. So there's obviously there's a problem with this question, because this doesn't, it's not equal to a constant here. Now let's look at this function here. This function, as you see, there is no x in it. So if there is no x here, so it's a constant number. So this is a constant number. So no variable, so it becomes a constant. So the derivative of the constant is, okay, I will say like pi squared minus e to the cube plus 1 prime is equal to 0. This has to be 0. Okay, remember this constant, the derivative of the constant is always 0. Now it says f of x is this, then find f prime of x. Okay, let's do it step by step. F prime of x will be the prime of 3 over square root minus 9 over 4 x to 2 cube root of x squared minus 3x plus 5 over 4. Okay, I will use this rule step by step again. I mean, if you can play forward, I mean, if you don't want to wait for it. So I distribute the derivative to each term in this expression, you know, with if you have minus and plus, then you can distribute. Now 3 is not affected by the derivative, so I can take this out. This is 3 is a coefficient here, and then minus 9 over 4 times cube root of x squared and 3x prime, and I can say this is 0, so this is constant. So okay, I want to take the derivative of this now. So how can I take the derivative of this? It's better I write this one as a power of x. So if I write this one as a power of x, it will be x to the negative half. So let's use the rule here. The derivative rule for x to the n is equal to n times x to n minus 1. So x to negative 1 over 2 prime is equal to minus 1 over 2 times x to negative 1 over 2 minus 1. So this becomes minus 1 over 2 x to negative 3 over 2. And then this will give us, okay, minus 3 times minus 1 over 2 times x to negative 3 over 2. And if you want to go some more, you can write this one as like 1 over 1 over 2 x to 3 over 2. And you can do like 1 over 2 times square root of x cubed. I mean, it depends on you and the answer. So if it says like write them as a positive power, no radicals, then you have to write it this way. But here there's no restriction, so I will write it this way. Then minus 9 over 4. What is this now? This is the cube root of x squared. You can write this one as a power of x, which will be 2 over 3. Okay, what's the derivative of this? Let's remember it. 2 over 3 comes to the front. Then x to 2 over 3 minus 1. So this becomes 2 over 3 x to minus 1 over 3. So this will be 2 over 3 x to negative 1/3. And minus 3, the derivative of x, we know it's 1. So now we can combine what we wrote here, negative 3 over 2 x to negative 3 over 2. And then there is some cancellation here, 3, then 2, so it will be 3 over 2 x to negative 1/3 minus 3. I mean, if you want to write them as like the cube root or like square root, it depends. I mean, we can write, of course, or with the positive exponent, we can write, no problem with that. But this is accepted as an answer. If it doesn't say like write them in positive exponents, leave it as it is. Now here it's written in terms of, as you see, the square root. This here is like x to 3 over 2, and this becomes like x to 1/3, and there. So these terms here are equivalent terms, what we wrote. Now let's find the equation of the tangent line to the function f of x at x equal to 1. So the tangent line formula is this: y minus f of 1. Okay, this is f prime 1 equal to f prime 1 times x minus 1. This is coming, okay, where does this come from? Okay, I want to remind you this one here. So this is 1 here, and this will be f of 1. So this point here is 1 f of 1 point, and the slope here is f prime of 1. So I give you this, do you remember this? Y minus y0 times m times x minus x0. Here x0, y0 is our point here, 1 f of 1. And the slope here is this f prime 1. So it comes from here. Anyway, after this reminder, okay, so this is here, this is the tangent line, and we are talking about the slope and the point here. Anyway, this was just a reminder of this. Now we want to find this equation. Now what is needed? This is f1. F1 is needed. So just put here 1, 3 over, okay, now I will directly put them 1 in here and say 3 over 1 minus 9 over 4 minus 3 plus 5 over 4. And then it will be 3 minus 3 and minus 9 over 4 plus 5 over 4. And this will be equal to a negative 4 over 4, which is minus 1. Now, when it comes to f prime of minus 1, sorry, f prime of 1, first we need to remember, I will erase this part. Okay, let's remember f of x first, then it was negative 3 over 2, x2 negative 1 over 2, and then negative 3 over 2, x2 minus 1 over 3, and then it was minus 3. So f prime, what is f prime 1 then? It will be negative 3 over 2, negative 3 over 2, and negative 3, which is negative 6. And now we can put them together here. So this one here, we put them y minus f of 1, which is negative 1, is equal to what is f prime 1, which is negative 6, then times x minus 1. So this has to be equal to y plus 1 equal to negative 6 plus 6. This will be equal to negative 6 plus 5. So this will be the line equation here. Okay, here is another way of doing it.